Hey, what's up everyone? 10 years. It has been 10 years since my first performance of Michael Jackson's Thriller. It started out in the front of my parents' house on trick-or-treat night in DeSoto, and now I perform it all over Southern Illinois all month long during October. So join me while I think back to the first performance of Thriller, how it has evolved since then, and the future of Thriller. This is Thriller. 10 years ago. Wow. I don't know how I feel about that. It seems so long ago, but at the same time it doesn't. It seems just like a month ago. So yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. But I remember when I first came up with the idea, it was just as something to do for fun and not really something that I wanted to do year after year after year. I knew it was a possibility of doing it, but my expectations weren't very high because, you know, we were starting out in the front yard of my parents' house in DeSoto. So I thought, you know, we'd get a few trick-or-treaters come by and watch the show, and it'd just be end up being me and a few of my friends dancing in the front yard for my parents. So it didn't really click that it would end up becoming something we do every year until the night went on a little bit, because we kind of started out with very few people. Definitely it was just going to be, at first it was just my parents and the neighbors, and then as trick-or-treat went on a little bit, more people came down the street and started watching the show, and after they would leave, they would go and tell people down the streets, hey, you need to go down this street because they're doing Thriller. And we ended up getting a crowd down that street. I had one of my neighbors say, this is the most people we've ever seen down this street. And I didn't have a big group then to start out with. I think there was 5 or 6 of us, and I mean, it's definitely not what it is today. It definitely wasn't what it is today. It was barely any makeup and no real set design or anything like that. It was just setting up my speakers and a couple lights and going to town with it. So it wasn't very much, and yet people loved it, and we got a huge response from it. And I remember being so kind of giddy afterwards because it went so well that I couldn't sit still. And I think as soon as people started coming down the street, I knew we've got to do this again. Whether it's in front of my parents' house or somewhere else, this has got to happen again. So it was definitely a surprise when it went well. It has evolved so much since the very first show. Just kind of the feel of it has changed throughout the years for sure. The setup of it didn't change for a while. What I mean by setup is it always went duet into zombies. There's always a duet, and somehow the two of us, me and whoever it was that did the duet with me, would change into zombies really quick, which just meant we took baby powder and threw it on our face. And that was pretty much it, because in order to do the shows again and again, and to do that change really quickly from normal clothes to zombie clothes, we had no time for makeup. So it was just baby powder, shoom, I can't see, all right, here we go. So it was, yeah, it was always difficult, yet funny at the same time to try to do a duet and go into zombies. So that stayed the same. We did, for the first show and for a lot of shows after that actually. We did if you've seen Michael Jackson's Thriller video, it went verse, verse, and verse, and then zombie dance break into the zombie chorus. So that's what we did all the time. And the choreography each year for the duet would always change. And zombie part obviously never changed. I never really messed with that because it was straight from the video. I didn't want to mess with Michael Jackson stuff, you know. He's the king, you can't. And everyone knows Thriller. So it stayed the same, that format, for a few years, and then I felt I needed to change it up a little bit. So I added some songs, different songs that kind of had that creepy feel, a Halloweenish feel to it. One year I did a Busta Rhymes song and I put it in between the, I just said it, the zombie dance break and the chorus. So I put it in between there. So we'd all be zombies and we break out in another song and we kind of go for it and all that stuff, and then we go back into Thriller. And then another year I added, I don't think we did the chorus on this one. I think we just did a zombie dance break, and then when we turned around, it went into like a remix version of Halloween theme song. And I remember hearing that song going, oh yeah, this is going in. Because it was, Halloween is my favorite kind of like scary movie series, and I was always looking for something that we could use that had that theme in it. So found that chance and we did it, and the beginning was the same. I kind of messed with that for a couple of years, and then decided I'm not going to mess with the zombie part anymore. I'm going to mess with the duet now. So I changed the song. One year we did a Jay-Z song. That worked out well because it had this kind of creepy and Halloweenish feel. It had a Frankenstein kind of dialogue in it, and that was fun. And it had thunder and all that stuff in it, and I added some more thunder because it didn't have enough for my likings. So we did that one year, and next year we did, or another year we did a song called Zombies by Natalia Kills. She's kind of an unknown artist, but she has some awesome songs. And Zombie kind of worked. It said, I'm in love with the zombie. And the duet worked really well with that to transition into the zombies. So I did that for a few years, and kind of messed with throwing different things, different songs in there. And a few years ago, I decided, you know what? Forget about the duet. I've changed it so many times. It's just, I'm done messing with the duet. And so I ended up saying, I want to focus on the zombies. I want to focus on trying to actually scare people now. And so I took duet out completely and went straight for the zombies. One year it was pretty basic, and it was just the Vincent Price rap, which is darkness falls across the night, the midnight hours close upon. That's definitely not how he does it, but it's close enough. Close enough. Like, it is not close at all, but it's the same words. So we did that, and we kind of really played out the zombie part, and it allowed me and whoever else would possibly even do the duet actually look like zombies. So it was good. We all looked like zombies, and good zombies. So we did that. That was a few years ago, and then last year I decided I'm going to add a video to it. And actually, the video we shot last year was for our Keeping Rhythm Alive show. It's the American Cancer Society benefit show that we do, and I actually was able to do videos for it. So I said, perfect, we're going to do Thriller because it's our first big show, and we're going to do this song and do a video for it. And so we called it Thriller Madhouse. The song was Madhouse that we did the video for, and kind of added the version we did the previous year for Thriller right behind the video. But as we got to October, I said it needs to be a little bit more crazy. So I took the video, kept it the same. I added a little bit, I kind of mixed it a little bit, told a little bit more story, the best I could with text, and then added some sound effects, some music before the zombie dance part, and it made it so creepy. And I remember sitting in my house after doing the mixing of it and just sitting there and just kind of, yes, I like it, yes, oh, it's so creepy, and just that, I was just sitting there going, yeah, this is gonna be good, you guys, and no one's here, okay, it's gonna be good to you. And yeah, it was a blast. And last year we got some good people to do the show. We started auditioning after we started focusing on the zombie part. Once we started focusing on the zombie part, we started doing auditions. So our people that made the audition last year just were perfect for that theme. And they played it out. They had no care of if they looked stupid or crazy. So they just went for it, and it turned out awesome. And then this year was, if you've seen the show, this year's show was based around a school haunting. And there's no music for our video. It's straight, just like you're kind of watching a movie and stuff like that. And so the extras, this was the first time too that the extras that we got from the auditions that were actually in the video. This is the first time we didn't have music to a video that we've ever done, whether it be for Thriller or not. And it was different for everyone. And I'm actually going to talk about that later in another video, so yeah, stick around. But not in this video, it's another video, so you gotta wait a little bit. My favorite year. Oh, now it's kind of a given that the first year would be my favorite, so I'm not going to say that. But I'm not saying any other year is worse than any of the others, and I'm not saying the dancers that were in the year I'm going to say were better than anybody else. It was just the theme and how everyone reacted to it. The Thriller Madhouse last year's show was probably my favorite. We just got to be crazy, and as I said before, everyone just worked. Everyone that we had for it just worked, and for that theme, and no one held back. So last year definitely was my favorite. You never knew what anyone was going to do, so each time we did the show, something was different, and someone was doing something, trying something different and creepy. So last year was definitely my favorite, for sure. Thriller Madhouse. The future of Thriller. Well, let me say this first. I was planning out this year's show, I had two ideas, or I originally had two ideas, and then as we got to May of this year, I got another idea. And actually that idea that I got in May, I decided to go with. However, I had to get a lot of things lined out for it. It was going to be a lot bigger shoot and theme than what we actually went with. So I scratched all three of those ideas and came up with another idea like a month or a month and a half before the show started. So for this year's show, I had 4 ideas and used one of them. So I have 3 left, and I actually came up with 1 or 2 more ideas for next year's show. So I have 5 ideas on the plate. And so you got me for 5 years. But I will say this, when I am done, I'm gonna make sure I go out on a good note. I want to make sure my ideas aren't just whatever. I guess we'll be flying monkeys that turn into zombies or something. Not only do I want to go out on a good note, I want to make sure you guys still want to see the shows. So as long as my ideas are going and they're good, and as long as you guys want to see it, I'll do it. So, and of course, I want to make sure I'm having fun with it, because that's how everything started. It was for fun, and I'm still having fun with it. I'm still having good ideas. You guys still want to see it, so I'm still doing it. So as long as all those three things align very well, then you got me.